सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So we have been seeing that Ved Vyasa ji is presenting the circumstances in which Arjuna, the soldier, becomes Arjuna, the seeker of moksha. For a person to become seeker of moksha, he should have understood the limitations of life. This person should have learned some lessons from this university of life. You know, in schools and colleges, we are taught a lesson and then given a test. But life gives us a test to teach us some lessons, you know. And very few people learn these lessons, you know. And the one who does, there is a transformation in that person. There is an inner transformation which happens, and this transformation happens gradually. The person will go through certain phases in life. And the main change is going to happen when the person realizes that the fundamental problem in life is realizing the fact that the problem of life is within me, because it is my perception which is a problem here in this world. And this basic fundamental human problem is known as samsara, which comes in the form of raga, shoka and moha. Yeah, right. Yeah, bas. So it comes in the form of raga, shoka and moha. Psychological dependence on external factors is raga. Hey, what is this?
Speak now.
Right karu na? Okay. So psychological dependence on external factors is raga. Knowing that I for my well-being am dependent on something or someone in this world which is temporary and ephemeral. It can change any time. This object of dependence, which can change or which can go away from my life, is a cause of great anxiety for everyone. Not just the person just going, even imagining the loss of this person. This object of dependence is enough to bring anxiety in a person. And when that object actually goes away from life, there's a lot of grief, which is shoka. And the mind in the grip of raga and shoka faces a lot of discriminative problem. It loses its faculty of discrimination actually. And then it faces conflict regarding what should be done and what should not be done in the present situation, you know, which is moha. So this threefold problem of attachment, grief and conflict is what is the basic fundamental human problem known as samsara. And Arjuna is facing this problem of samsara in the battlefield. He's having raga, he's having shoka, and all that he is speaking is because of moha. And whenever a person is suffering from samsara problems, instantly he will not start looking around and seeking advice of anyone, you know. Whoever he thinks is wise, he is going to ask for advice, but not instantly. Nobody does that, you know. First, they are going to try and solve the problem themselves. They will, as per their understanding, they are going to solve the problem which they are facing in life. You know. And what is the problem? What is the solution which all the human beings know? Because they don't know the problem is inside. The only solution they know is they go on adjusting their external world. So this house in which we are living, from the time we have come in this house, our problems are not going. So problem is this house, so we must change this house, or the vastu of this house is not good, that is why we are facing so much of problem. So maybe putting a window here and a door there is going to solve my inner problem of life. This life struggles of everyone, this which is people are running around here, whatever they are doing, all they are doing is they are busy adjusting their external worlds. But we find in life, at least some sensible people find, that no matter what you do outside, the inner problem will never go. Temporary solutions do come, there is some temporary relief in life, which is only a palliative treatment. It's like, when you have cold, you apply Vicks. So Vicks is only a counter irritant, and cold is a viral infection. That Vicks cannot cure that cold, But when we apply an irritant, then the other problem which was irritating us just seems less significant. It's like when a bigger scam comes in, we forget the old scam which was already lingering around. Everybody was talking about it. Then you forget that when a bigger scam has come in. So is this a solution to life problems, or is this progress of confusion? So all of us here are busy giving first aid to the problems of life, just giving some temporary solutions. What everybody is doing here cannot solve the problem of life permanently. It's not possible. So the real progress happens when the person discovers this feeling of helplessness within, that he can't find any solution to this problem. He has to realize this. He has to feel this helplessness. And this feeling of helplessness is known as Dainya Bhava or Karpanya Bhava in the Shastras. Only when this feeling comes will a person even look out for help. Otherwise, as per their understanding, they are busy trying to solve the problems of life, which will not go. So when this feeling comes, then the person starts opening up and wants advice, And Arjuna hasn't yet reached that stage where he doesn't want the advice. He's very sure of what he has been talking, which we saw in the whole of first chapter, He's just going on saying things, and he's trying to make Bhagwan understand his perspective, because he thinks his perspective is right. But eventually he just sits down with tears in his eyes and he's so dejected. Seeing him in that state, eventually Bhagwan speaks. The entire first chapter, Bhagwan has not spoken anything, He has just been listening to Arjuna. And he speaks seeing him so dejected, And the first method he uses to shake up Arjuna out of this dejected thinking of his is he uses some harsh words, which we saw in the last class, He even calls him a klebya. A klebya is a person who is neither a man or a woman, actually an unmanly person who is so womanly, he's klebya, and there's a shloka on that. He calls him, are you a klebya? Just get up and fight, But changing somebody's thinking is not easy. It's like this person, who starts thinking that he's a cat for some reason, and this is what he starts telling his family members. His family members are, so surprised. What is he talking? He says, no, he insists he's a cat. So when they couldn't try and convince him, they fixed up an appointment with a psychiatrist, So they took him to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist starts to convince him that, what do you mean you're a cat? He says, no, he's a cat. This is what he's thinking, he's a cat. And then he won't step out of the house because he says there are dogs outside, the stray dogs outside, so he's not putting his foot out of the house. So after trying to convince him enough, the psychiatrist actually goes and gets a cat and takes both of them in front of a mirror so that he can see both together. He says, now look, this is a cat and this is you. So are you a cat? So after having a good look, he says, no, I'm not a cat. This is a cat and I'm a human being. So psychiatrist says, are you sure? He says, yes, I'm sure. Okay, so now go back home and relax, So stop talking like this. So he thought, he heaved a sigh of relief, thinking, thankfully I've cured this patient. But after a few days, the psychiatrist gets a call again, and the family members are saying that he's still not stepping out of the house. So he says, okay, give him the phone. So he says, now what is your problem? I thought I tried to tell you and you were convinced that you're not a cat. He says, no, I know I'm not a cat, but how do I know that those dogs know outside? So it is not easy to change anyone's thinking. This thinking has got such deep roots, and the mind has been carrying on since Janmas. Only the physical body we got in this Janma. The mind is carrying on since Janmo Janmantar. This is the same mind we have which was there for so long, So changing somebody's thinking is not easy. Actually, to change our own thinking is not that easy, So we had seen in the last class that eventually Arjuna starts weighing the options that he is going to not fight this war. He will leave for the forest and he is going to go and live on bhiksha over there, But then he knows that he is a grihastha, and for a grihastha can't live on bhiksha. It's pap karma for a grihastha to live on bhiksha, And Arjuna knows that. And that leaving the battlefield, the fight, the dharma yuddha is his swadharma, and leaving that also is a pap. That also Arjuna knows, But because he is so utterly confused just now regarding his dharma and adharma, he says, no, I will leave for the forest. That is shreya. Shreya means that is good, Because there is no way that I can enjoy the security and pleasure which this kingdom is going to bring, because all these pleasures are going to be stained by my guru's blood, gurus and the kith and kin, all the relatives, He calls Bhishma Pitama also his guru in the last class shloka which we saw, because he has learned so much from his grandfather that he calls him also guru, or he always says my gurus, because Dronacharya is his guru and so is Bhishma Pitama. He is his grandfather and also his guru. So he says, no, I don't want this kingdom because this is going to be stained by my guru's blood. So Arjuna's thinking has not changed. He just stuck there. He hasn't reached the stage of asking for Bhagwan's help. And now further he says, which we will read. Bhagavad Gita is chanted in 2 meters, which I had told in the last class. It is Anustub meter and 3 stub meter. All that entire first chapter up till now which we've seen is Anustub meter, But now, since last class, couple of shlokas were in 3 stub meter. And the coming shloka is also in 3 stub meter. So we will read. न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः. So Arjuna's thinking is still totally stuck because he is absolutely confused, because the 2 options which are there in front of him are both bad. If there is a decision to be made between good and bad, that is not a problem. People can make it. But the options in front of him are both bad. If he leaves for the forest, then he will not have to kill his people. But he knows that leaving for the forest, he'll have to give up his swadharma. And leaving for the forest, then he'll have to live on bhiksha, which he is not eligible for as a grihastha and as a kshatriya. He is not supposed to live on bhiksha. So there are 2 options in front of him, both are bad, and Arjuna's mind is totally in conflict. Because he has lost all his objectivity. His mind is now more subjective. In life, when we have more subjectivity, we are going to take all wrong decisions. All our decisions are going to be wrong if there is more subjectivity inside. Only when there is objectivity will our decisions be right. An insane person is totally subjective. He lives in his subjective world. Remaining objective keeps us going sane. So here Arjuna is telling Bhagwan, na cha etad vidmaha. Cha means moreover, etad is this, na vidmaha, we do not know. Kataranogariyo. Kataranogariyo means katarat naha gariyaha. Katarat means between two things where I have to choose. Between two things. Naha for us, gariyaha, which is good. I do not know what is good between these two options which are in front of me. Then he says, yadva jayema, whether we will conquer these people, yadi va no jayeyuhu, or they are going to conquer us in this war. Yan eva hatva, by killing those people, na jijivishamaha, we will not want to live. Te avasthita, they are standing, pramukhe, right in front, dhartarashtraha, these sons of Dhritarashtra, the Kauravas. So he is telling Bhagwan, na cha etad vidmaha, we do not know. Arjuna is using the word we instead of using I do not know. He's not saying I have ignorance. He's saying we have ignorance. The word we over here indicates there is some ego in this, Even in ignorance there is ego. And it is extremely difficult for a person to recognize this identification with the ego. Most of the people cannot recognize, But he does say, we do not know. So this do not know is Bhagwan is waiting for, since then. Because unless a person says he does not know, the one who has this knowledge cannot give this knowledge. Because if the person thinks he knows it all, then the other person cannot give any advice, So up till now, Arjuna was extremely sure that he knows it all. What he was saying, he was very sure about that. But now he says, we do not know. Like it is said, when a person who knows not and knows not he knows not is a fool. You shun him, And a person who knows not but knows that he knows not is ignorant. Teach him. So now Arjuna is saying, I do not know. So only then was Bhagwan going to say anything. And what doesn't he know? Katarat nagariyaha. Between the two options which I have, which is good for us, I do not know. So one option is the dharma yuddha, which is his swadharma, but that involves guru vadaha. He has to kill his guru in that. That is one option. Dharma yuddha is a plus point, but guru vada is a minus point. Then leaving the battlefield and going to the forest, for him he thinks is plus point, because then he doesn't have to kill his people. But then he has to give up his Kshatriya dharma because of that. So that is a minus point. So now he is totally confused between these two options in front of him, Even we people, if we have such an option in front of us, most of the people will not take that decision, they just keep postponing it, because they are unable to take that decision. But a sensible person knows that sooner than later we have to take that decision, So presently Arjuna is totally confused, and then he says, also I do not know, yadva jayema, whether we will conquer these people or va no jayeyuhu, or they are going to conquer us, So see, this is what happens when instead of focusing your mind on the present problem, he is thinking about the results, His mind is running in the results of the action which is going to take place. Just like during examinations, instead of studying, Some people are perpetually thinking, oh, whether we will pass, whether we will fail, whether we will pass. This is all they're thinking. And because of that anxiety, they are not able to study, and that ensures that they are going to fail, you know. Or when some people are taking care of some sick people, then all the time, instead of taking care of them, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen? So that way you are not going to be able to take care of that person also, you know. So this is a lesson for us in life, that we must keep our mind in the present moment and not let it run in past and future if we want to live an anxiety-free life. And this requires a lot of wisdom and practice. Keep your mind in the present moment, you know. This is a teaching for us. So then Arjuna is saying that yan eva hatva na jijivishamaha. By killing these people, we would not want to live. Because if it was some asuras and rakshasas, I would have just gone and killed them without any problem. But these are my own relatives. These are my cousins I have grown up with. We have such good memories together. They are children, we have grown up together. Now, killing them means there's going to be a lifetime of guilt, you know. Here also he is using the word we. We will not want to live. So this actually, other people of the Pandava army are not saying anything, you know. It is Arjuna who's saying, but he's making it sound as if it's the opinion of all the Pandavas, you know. He wants like a collective opinion. He's trying to say that this is not just my opinion, you know. We, all of us, will not want to live after that, you know. So he says, they avasthita pramukhe dhartarash, these people who are standing in front, right in front of me as enemies, the life would be worth less after killing them, because all this is not going to be easily forgettable. So now what Arjuna is saying actually is revealing that there is some doubt coming in his mind, that perhaps my thinking is not right. Up till now he was very sure of what he was saying, but now some doubt has started coming in. Then further he says, Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha Prichami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha Yashreyasyaat nishchitam bruhi tanme Yashreyasyaat nishchitam bruhi tanme Shishyaste ham shadhi mam tvam prapannam Shishyaste ham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Karpanya dosha. Karpanya dosha is this feeling of helplessness. Upahat is overcome. Swabhavaha. In this context, swabhava means the mind. Prichhami tvam, I am asking you. Dharma sammudha chetaha. Chetaha means the intellect. Sammudha means deluded. Dharma is about my dharma, my duty. My intellect is totally confused regarding my duty. So I am asking you, prachami tvam. Yash shreya syat. What is shreya means good. Yash shreya syat. What is good for me in this present moment? Nishchitam bruhi tanme. Nishchitam, definitely, 100%, not 50-50. What is good for me, you please. Bruhi means tell me. Tat me, that you tell me. Whatever is 100% good for me in this present situation, you please tell me that. Shishyasteham. Te means you, aham is I, shishyaha. I am your shishyaha. Shadhi mam. Shadhi means teach. Remove my ignorance. Please teach me. Tvam prapannam. I surrender to you. I bow down in front of you. So after having spoken to Bhagwan like a samsari for a long time, trying to make Bhagwan understand his perspective, eventually the ignorance creeps into the Arjuna's mind that perhaps my thinking is not right, and eventually he admits his ignorance. For a person to admit his ignorance, the person must be humble. Arrogant people do not admit their ignorance. Come what may, they will not admit, And having ignorance is not a problem, because that is not a, we all are born with ignorance. When we were born, we are ignorant about everything in this world, including our self-ignorance, So ignorance is not a sin, but perpetuation of ignorance definitely is. We have come here as human beings, we have got this one chance to remove this ignorance, and if you come as a human being and leave this world ignorant, especially about self-ignorance, you leave this world being ignorant about yourself, then you miss the goal of life, the whole purpose of being a human being you have missed out, So ignorance, to accept the ignorance, there should be no problem. But eventually Arjuna does accept, and he says, Karpanya dosho upahat swabhavaha. Swabhava actually means the nature, but in this context it means the mind. That my mind is upahat. It has become incapacitated because it is overcome by karpanya dosha. This feeling of helplessness in me, This helplessness is because of misery, because of moha. He is not able to find a solution to this problem. There is total helplessness, karpanya dosha. He is trying to tell Bhagwan that my buddhi has lost its viveka. It is the intellect which discriminates between two things, between right and wrong. Decision making is intellect's job. So he is trying to tell Bhagwan, my intellect is not functioning, I just don't know what to do, So dharma sammudha chetaha, he says. The cheta is the intellect, sammudha is confused regarding my dharma. I don't know what to do in this present situation. What is right and what is wrong, I just don't know what to do here. So this is revealing Arjuna's level, He's such a conscientious person. That is why he's talking like this. Very few people think like that, This is because Arjuna was so well versed with the Dharma Shastra. And Dharma Shastra says, Ahimsa parmo dharma, himsa na kuryat. This is what Dharma Shastra says, and since birth he has known Dharma Shastra so well, So he has to kill his own people, We are not supposed to even hurt anybody physically, verbally, mentally. We are not supposed to trouble anybody here in this world, And here, what does he have to do? He has to kill his people, his elders, his gurus, all standing there. So he is totally, like from childhood, whatever he has been taught, now he has to do totally other way around. What is happening in front of him, he is not able to do it, his conscience not permitting him. But on the other side, he also knows that these Dhritarashtras are durbuddhe. He himself has said it earlier, before this confusion started in his mind, he had said that Dhritarashtra, Dushta Buddhi, adharmic people, he himself had said it, So one side he has been saying this, the other side he says, no, I cannot kill these people. So his mind is totally in conflict and he doesn't know what to do. So he tells Bhagwan, Prachami Tvam, I am asking you. Arjuna himself is telling Bhagwan, I am asking you. He's saying that because in our Shastras, they make it very, very clear that a person should not give advice unless asked for. The person who wants help has to acknowledge that he needs help, he wants the advice, Otherwise, you should not give advice. Like at home, for our own children, as parents, we just go on giving advice because we feel it's our duty to give them advice. But many times we know it's totally waste. It's like pouring water on duck's back. They are not going to take that advice. And only till a certain age we can even give them advice. Beyond that, we can only pray to God to give them sadbuddhi. You can't do anything. So Bhagwan is not going to say anything, and Arjuna knows that unless he says it in clear words that I am asking you, I need your help, Bhagwan is going to keep quiet, because he's been keeping quiet throughout the first chapter. He's not said a single word. He is waiting for Arjuna. If he needs help, I will give help. I'm not going to start giving bhashan on dharma and duty and all that unless he doesn't want it, But now Arjuna is saying he wants it, So he wants, I am asking you, prachami tvam. And what is he asking? Yashriyat syat. What is good for me in this present situation? I'm stuck. I don't know. Nishchitam bruhi tanme. That you please tell me 100%. Whatever is right, you tell me and I will follow that, Shishyasteham. Te, yours, aham, I want to be your shishyaha. This is the way knowledge is asked for in our culture, Shadhi Mam, he says, please teach me. He's not asking for advice. He's asking for knowledge. He wants to remove his ignorance. He's using the word Shadhi Mam, please teach me. Tvam Prapannam, I surrender to you, I bow down in front of you. This is a very crucial shloka, because here Arjuna the soldier gets converted into Arjuna the disciple. A very, very crucial shloka and a very famous shloka for that, because there are so many pictures on this shloka. If you have seen Bhagavad Gita's pictures, there's a picture in which Bhagwan is standing and Arjuna in some pictures kneeling down in front of him with his folded hands, and in some pictures he's got his head on Bhagwan's feet. Very, very famous pictures all around. It is on this shloka that he's asking Bhagwan for knowledge, in Sikhism, the word Sikh actually means Shishyaha. It comes from the word Sikhyaha, to learn. And their guru is that Guru Granth Sahib. A Shishya in Sanskrit means who is Shiksha Yogyaha. The person has to be Yogya to get this Shiksha. Everybody is not Yogyaha, Like there's another word called Vidyarthi in Sanskrit. Vidyarthi means Vidya Arthi. Arthi means desirer of Vidya. The person could be desirer of Vidya, but he may or may not be Yogya. So Yogya is what we've studied earlier, the adhikari of this knowledge. The one who's sampanna with sadhan chatushte sampatti. That person is an adhikari of knowledge, He is Yogya, and a Shishya is Shiksha Yogya. So just like, these six, their guru is that Guru Granth Sahib. That is their guru, and see the reverence, so much of respect they give to the scripture. Unlike us, we people are not bothered, we throw our scriptures here and there, But these people, for them, that Guru Granth Sahib is everything. So we must also, learn to give this kind of respect. We have respect for that murti in the temple, but the scriptures which are telling us the meaning of that murti, we have no respect for. This must be changed, We must show respect to our scriptures, These scriptures have to be given a lot of respect. So the Shishya, who is going to judge? The Guru is going to judge who is Shiksha Yogya, But all the traits of this, how is going to, he has to see the openness of the mind, he has to see his humility, he has to see the desire for knowledge, he has to see the aptitude of knowledge. But what is there in the mind is invisible, so the Guru can't see the Shishya's mind. Hence the Shishya has to express the feelings which he has in the mind by showing this Prapannam, Tvam Prapannam, which is, in our culture it is, doing pranam, doing dandavat pranam, doing charan sparsha. This is how knowledge was asked for. In Vedic times, this knowledge was not given so easily. The gurus would be sitting somewhere in the forest beside a river, they would have a small hut, and they didn't live in this samsara, So whoever was truly desirous of this knowledge had to go looking for the guru, Not like today, Vedanta class, and nobody, what is Vedanta is what they're asking, and still we are giving, but no, earlier days it was absolutely no, this knowledge is not given like that, the person must want this knowledge from the core of his heart. So he went looking for a guru, and when he found the guru there, Dandavat Pranam, with a lot of humility and respect, he asked for this knowledge. And even then the gurus didn't give it him instantly. They would test this person's desire, see whether he is truly wanting this knowledge or not. So for a certain span of time, they would just work around in their ashram and show that this, yes, I want this knowledge, and only then the gurus gave this knowledge. So here now Arjuna is trying to show all that because he knows all this, this about our culture and tradition he knows very well. So he is saying Tvam Prapannam is Sharanagati. So I have surrendered to you, So the three stages. First is the discovery of samsara. The second is karpanya dosha, the helplessness. And third is Sharanagati. He surrenders to Bhagwan and he says, you tell me what is good for me. You Shadi Mam, please teach me. He is wanting knowledge. He's not wanting advice. Because advice has to be given repeatedly. And the person remains ignorant always, And that way the person is dependent on the person, for advice. Repeatedly he'll come back for advice. But knowledge solves the problem for good. Because next time the person has any problem, he's going to solve the problem himself. So advice makes the person dependent and knowledge makes the person independent. So Arjuna is asking for knowledge. It's like, there's a Chinese proverb that when a person is hungry and you give him a fish, you solve the problem for that day. But if you teach him how to fish, you solve the problem for good. That is why giving this knowledge, you solve each human being's problem for good if the person has assimilated that knowledge, So Arjuna doesn't want advice, he's asking for knowledge. So now he says, Nahi prapashyami mama punudyat.
Nahi prapashyami mama punudyat.
Yachokamuchoshanamindriyanam. Shanamindriyanam. Avapya bhuma vasapatnamriddham. Middham Rajyam Suranam api chadhipatyam. Nahi prapashyami, I cannot see. Mama, mine. Apanudyat, that which will remove my yat shokam, this grief of mine, which uchoshanam indriyanam, which is weakening my indriyas, my senses. Avapya, obtaining. Bhumau, on this earth. Asapatnam is unrivaled. Riddham, prosperous. Rajyam, kingdom. Suranam api, even the celestials in the heaven. Cha adhipatyam, if I get to rule over them. So after, here Arjuna is, literally confessing to God that, I am totally confused, I don't know what to do here. So he says, Nahi prapashyami, I cannot see. What? Mama apanudyat, what is going to remove this yat shokam, this grief which I am feeling inside. I know, I can see. Very few people can see this. Arjuna is saying, because he is one of the best human beings, that he is saying that these worldly methods of removing the shokam, which all the human beings indulge in, is not going to remove my shokam. I can see that. And what are the methods the human beings use? Oh, I am feeling very sad. Let's go out, go for a party, go and eat outside, go have some fun, go on a holiday, or if it's lingering, go get a pet at home. These are the methods a human being resorts to, to remove the grief from inside, hoping that, what is this? This is escapism, trying to distract your mind. So to get something else so that the mind gets distracted. This doesn't solve the problem. And Arjuna is saying, I can see that, Pashyami, I can see that these worldly methods are not going to remove my shokam, which uchoshanam indriyanam, which is just weakened my senses. Arjuna's Gyanendriyas, Karmendriyas had become totally weak. They had lost their strength, because if you remember in first chapter he says that my legs are trembling and my head is reeling and all that, he said that in the first chapter. So he is saying, Uchoshanam Indriya, my Indriyas have gone, this such deep shoka which I am feeling, these worldly methods are not going to remove my shoka. And not only these worldly methods, avapya bhuma vasapatna mriddham, that on avap means here, on this earth, on this earth, if I get a kingdom which is asapatnam, like unrivaled, which has no rivalry, and riddham, which is very prosperous, I know that even that is not going to remove this grief of mine which I am feeling. Leave alone this earth, suranam api charipatyam, even if I get to rule over the heavens, if I become Indra, that also I know is not going to remove this grief of, I can see that. He says, I know that. These method of escapism and distraction of the mind is not going to solve my problem. The other human beings, this is what they are doing, but I want a permanent solution. This is not going to help me, So all the kingdoms, those days, they always had enemies around. So they were rival kingdoms, The king could not sleep or relax, like sleep peacefully or relax. Even today, every country is only worried about these neighboring countries, don't know what kind of weapons of mass destruction they are amassing and when they are going to attack us. Same thing's happening even now, First they spend so much of money and technology and make these weapons, and then they go and just decimate the countries. It's heart-wrenching to see the country turn into rubble totally. But this is what is happening, no peace in the world. And same thing would happen earlier. Every kingdom had the neighboring kingdoms, they were enemies, and if the king just became relaxed, if he was not alert all the time, they would start encroaching on the land, So that's a rivaled kingdom. So Arjuna is saying, even if I get a kingdom which is unrivaled, where there is no such problem, I could relax over there and be peaceful. That kingdom also will not give me, it will remove the shoka of mine. And even if that kingdom is riddham, there's a whole lot of prosperity, lots of money, people are rich and happy, no famine, no drought, no such problem. But he says, I know money cannot remove the sorrow, because money doesn't have the capacity to remove the sorrow of anyone, With money, you can buy a house, not a home. You can buy a bed, not sleep. You can buy food, not hunger. You can buy books, but not knowledge. You can buy people, but not friends. Money cannot get anything. Actually, the best things in life, money cannot buy. Yet this world, these people are chasing only money. So this only they can't see. This Arjuna is saying, Pashyami, I can see all that, That this is not going to remove my problem. So this riddham and unrivaled kingdom, even if I get, my shoka is not going to go. And leave alone this, even if I get to rule over the celestials over in the heavens, that also is not going to remove my sorrow. So eventually Arjuna has seen that this problem of samsara is not going to go by material accomplishments, material prosperity. What is required is spiritual prosperity. You have to have that wealth in you to remove the sorrow. This is called Shok Nivritti Shastra. This is what Gita is. To understand this, people don't have time because they're chasing money. Nobody understands this. Even on their deathbed, they have not understood. But fortunately for Hinduism, we have another Janma. So all we can say is better next Janma. Next Janma, we wish you luck. Maybe you'll get some sense in your head, Whichever Janma, how many Janmas you take to understand, this is one thing which has to be understood. The actual grief this world cannot remove, only knowledge is going to remove this grief, and knowledge is what Bhagavan is going to give. So Arjuna says, I don't want anything, I want this knowledge. So then now Vedvyasa ji takes us back to Hastinapur, where Sanjay has been telling all this to Dhritarashtra. And now the meter again changes, So this is going to keep on happening. The meter will keep changing throughout Bhagavad Gita. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva rishikesham Gudakesha parantapa Nayotsya iti govindam Uktva tushnim babuvaha. So Sanjay has been telling all this to Dhritarashtra. He's been telling that Arjuna is feeling very bad about killing your sons. This is what he's been telling, all this while. That Arjuna doesn't want to kill your sons. He's feeling so sad that he has to kill your sons. He doesn't want to kill his gurus who are a part of your kingdom, But in the hope that this blind king can stop the war. Because only he had the authority to stop the war. But he was so, attached to his children and so much full of raga, dvesha, no sense of dharma and adharma, that this blind king actually behaves as though he's deaf also, So all this Sanjay told him and made no difference to him, Because he is so obsessed with this kingdom and the strong desire to see his son Duryodhana become the king, It's like he has heard all this, but it didn't change anything. It made no difference to him. That Arjuna is actually crying there, that he doesn't want to kill his sons, but nothing, So he's just sitting there. He's blind. This is what the blindness means, So he says, Arjuna is saying that Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra in a way that, see, Arjuna doesn't want to fight this war, but he's also not left the battlefield. In his mind there's a doubt that no, I can't give up my duty. He's not left the battlefield. He's not fighting. He is now asking for self-knowledge. So this is what he's asking for, and he says, Gudakesha parantapa evam uktva. Parantapa is that scorcher of enemies. Arjuna is a scorcher of enemies. So we didn't see the meaning. Evam means this. Uktva said, Rishikesham, Bhagwan, who is the lord of our senses, because of whom our senses are functioning. Gudakeshaha means Arjuna, who has mastered his sleep. A person masters sleep is Gudakesha. Parantapa is such a brave person who is the scorcher of the enemies. Na yotsya, I will not fight. Iti, does. Govindaha, he calls Bhagwan Govindaha. Uktva, after having said this, Tushnim babhuvaha, he just became quiet. So Sanjay tells Dhritarashtra that after Arjuna, this Parantapa Gudakeshaha evam uktva, So Gudakeshaha is the person who has mastered his sleep, and that means in sleep we have tamoguna. So it means that a person has mastered his tamoguna. And a person who has mastered his tamoguna is always sattva guna pradhan person. then only his master is Tamoguna. And this knowledge can only be grasped by a person who's Sattva Guna Pradhan. If the person is Tamoguna Pradhan person is dull and sleepy. He'll just fall off to sleep listening to Vedanta, And a Rajoguna Pradhan person is an extrovert person, he's a restless person. He could be sitting in the class, but his mind would be running around like a monkey. Mind is not going to be here. That is a Rajoguna Pradhan person. So Guna Kesha means Arjuna is Sattva Guna Pradhan person, and he is also Parantapa. He is so strong. He told Evam Uktva to Rishikesham. He told Bhagwan, who's Rishikesham, he is the lord of our senses. Our senses are functioning because of Bhagwan, because it is pervaded by consciousness. So he tells him, Na yotsya iti Govindam, I will not fight Govinda. He calls Bhagwan Govinda. And the word Govinda also has many meanings. In Dharma Shastra, it means he, Bhagwan, who came as an avatara here to re-establish Dharma. And in Vedanta, it means Gam Vindati iti Govinda. The protector of the world who is understood by study of Vedanta. Go also means the Upanishads, and Vindaha means one who is grasped by the study of Upanishads. He is Govindaha. Upanishads means Vedanta. So Bhagwan, who is understood by studies of Vedanta, is Govinda, and Arjuna, Gunakesha Parantapa, tells Rishikesha Bhagwan that Na yotseti Govindam, I will not fight. And after saying that, Tushnim Babhuvaha, he just became quiet. Tushnim means verbally quiet. Also the moments in life when we are with our own nature, at that time our mind is quiet. Only when the mind is quiet we are with ourselves. Those are Tushnim moments, whenever we are with ourselves. So after saying this, Arjuna became quiet, and the word ha here indicates a change. Because just till a few minutes before there was the din and roar of the battlefield, all the shankhas were blowing and the trumpets were blowing, indicating the beginning of the war. And now this change has happened and Arjuna has just become quiet. Then Sanjay continues to say, Tamuvacha Rishikeshaha Prasahanniva Bharata Senayorubhayor Madhye Vishidantam idam vachaha. Tam means for Arjuna. Uvacha, said. Rishikesha, Bhagwan, who is the lord of our senses. Prasanniva, as though smiling. Bharata, Sanjay calls Dhritarashtra Bharata. Senayor Rubhayor Madhye, in between both the armies. Vishidantam, Arjuna, who is very sad. Vishidantam. Idam vachaha, these words. So Sanjay is continuing to tell Dhritarashtra, calling him Bharata, because Dhritarashtra is from Bharat Vamsha. All the Kurus are from Bharat Vamsha. The Pandavas are also Kurus only. They are also Bharat Vamsha. Only this blind king calls them Pandavas because they are the son of Pandu, who was his real brother. What a shame, So he divided the Kauravas into Kauravas and Pandavas because of this, So he says that in between the armies, both the armies, to Arjuna, Tam Vishidantam, who was very sad. To him, Rishikesha Bhagwan Uvacha, he said this, Prahasanniva, as though smiling. Bhagwan is smiling because of Arjuna's ignorance, because of Arjuna's delusion. Bhagwan is always smiling. In all the temples he is smiling. And there why is he smiling? He is smiling at humanity, because all of us are mudas, We are all so caught up in this game of life, in this game of Maya, that we do not know the fundamental truth, which is Tat Tvamasi. We don't know this truth. So this is why Bhagavan is smiling, always smiling. And to know this truth, we have to discover this truth, otherwise we will be losers in life. If we want to win this game of life, then we have to know this fact. Tat Tvamasi is what we have to know. This is all one big fat game. We can only get out from this game if we realize that we've come here as human beings, the highest species, and Bhagavan has given us the highest intellect. Only this intellect can figure this out. And then we can put an end to this game. That is, get out of this cycle of repeated birth and death. Otherwise, we are trapped in this cycle. And since we don't know, that is why Bhagavan is smiling. In every temple is jam-packed. There are long queues there, stampede happening there, because no one knows Deho Devalaya Prokto Jivo Deva Sanatana. Deha, this body is Devalaya. This is the temple. Jivo Deva Sanatana, the Jiva inside is the Sanatana Deva. That temple is a symbolic depiction of this temple. No one knows this fact, and no one is wanting to know this huge secret that the treasure of life is within us, is hidden within us. That is why Bhagavan is smiling, that Mudas find out. And he's smiling also at Arjuna, because Arjuna is also a samsari like us, He also doesn't know anything, He's sitting and howling over there in the battlefield. So then to him, to this Arjuna who's Vishidantam, who's so sad, Bhagwan Uvacha Idam Vachaha. What are the Vachaha? This Idam Vachaha is the entire Gita Shastram. The entire Gita Upadesha, which is going to start from the next shloka, the 11th shloka of the second chapter, and it's going to end in the 66th shloka of the 18th chapter. This is Idam Vachaha. This is the Upadesha. This Idam Vachaha is what Bhagavan is going to teach Arjuna, The 18th chapter has 78 shlokas, but the Upadesha ends in the 66th shloka, and the remaining shlokas are just concluding shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. So that in the Senayor Ubhyor Madhye, in between this army, in the din and roar of the battle, Bhagwan could teach, and Arjuna is listening to him, goes to show that there is no time and place for knowledge. All that is required is a ready student, an adhikari with tivra mumukshutvam, who has a strong desire for knowledge, and a competent guru to give this knowledge so that this knowledge can transpire. That is all that is required. And there are so many people who, instead of trying to understand this knowledge, they talk about history all the time. Oh, how could Bhagavan teach 18 chapters in that battlefield when the Kauravas were ready to fight? There are lots of people who talk like that. How did Arjuna understand all this in the confusion of the battlefield? In which year did Mahabharata happen? See, these are all silly questions. A wise person wants to know what this teaching is all about, It could be that Bhagavan said few things and the whole thing has been elaborated by Vedvyasa ji, or the entire thing is as per the Shruti, is Vedvyasa ji has written this totally, entirely on his own as per the Shruti knowledge. But who's worried about that? Can you understand this teaching which is going to be told now? This teaching is life transforming knowledge. It has to be assimilated, and you have to realize this, that life is going to be transformed. It will not be the same life again if you have understood this. Tarati shokam atmavita. There's going to be no shoka in life after that. This is the knowledge, So this knowledge is going to start from next shloka. Each and every sincere student of Vedanta must understand this with full attention. And Adi Shankaracharyaji's commentary also starts only from this 11th shloka. He has missed out this entire thing because all this was only a context for the teaching to happen. And the teaching is going to start from the next shloka, which we'll take in the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.